Today, we want to slow things down a bit, not to talk about headlines, interest rates, or predictions, but to talk about real decisions real people have made and what happened because of them.
We are Matt and Michael from the Webb & Young Group, Remax Hallmark Che Realty, and this is the Real Estate Roundtable. In real estate, it's rarely one big moment that makes or breaks a deal.
It's usually a series of smaller decisions along the way.
Some of them feel safe at the time,
And some of them feel uncomfortable.
and sometimes the outcome isn't what anyone expected.
So today, we're going to walk through a few real situations we've seen over the years.
Not to judge them, but to learn from them.
Here is our first story when we don't take the listing, expectations versus reality.
Most of the time when sellers come to us and say, we just want to list high and see what happens,
We actually don't take those listings on.
and that surprises people.
But the reason is simple. We don't believe in giving false hope.
And pricing without a clear plan usually leads to frustration, stress, and disappointment.
It's also a waste of time, and time really does matter in real estate.
That said, there are moments when optimism is justified.
A good example of this would be early 2025.
Inventory was really tight,
Buyer demand was strong.
and momentum felt like it was building.
Then the tariffs were fully implemented.
Almost overnight, activity slowed,
Showings dropped.
and prices softened.
Same house, same sellers.
Completely different environment.
That experience reinforced something we talked a lot about.
Markets can change quickly.
The goal isn't to predict perfectly, it's to have a strategy that can adapt.
And that brings us to story number 2, trying to time the market, the long game.
The next story goes back to just before the pandemic.
We worked with a seller who decided to sell their home and rent instead.
They genuinely believed that prices had no chance of going up any further.
And at the time, that didn't sound entirely unreasonable.
But what happened next surprised a lot of people.
Prices surged.
Not just for a few months, but for years.
They watched from the sidelines as values continued to climb.
And emotionally, this was very, very tough on the family.
Now, nearly 3 years later, they've considered re-entering the market.
And once again, right now they're hoping prices continue to drop even further.
This is why we almost never recommend trying to time the market.
Instead, what we focus on is time in the market.
If you buy a home, you can live in it for 5 or more years.
And historically, you're more often than not okay.
Real estate works best as a lifestyle decision first and an investment second.
Here's story number 3, the offer that felt uncomfortable, negotiation reality.
Yeah, we had a buyer who found a home that they absolutely loved.
For them, it checked almost every single box.
But they were worried that their budget might not stretch far enough.
They also had to sell their own home.
So there was real risk involved here.
And they didn't want to insult the sellers.
That fear stops a lot of deals before they even start.
What we did instead was slow the process down for them.
Yeah, we looked at competitive sales.
We talked through the market conditions.
We explained what made the offer reasonable, not aggressive.
Negotiations aren't about winning.
They're about alignment.
And in the end, both the buyer and the seller felt heard.
And both sides felt comfortable with the outcome.
That's what good negotiation looks like.
Here is story number 4, firm offers and rural reality, risk management.
This next situation was more common during the pandemic,
Buyers submitted firm offers, oftentimes without conditions,
and sometimes out of pure fear.
and sometimes out of extraordinary pressure.
This can be especially dangerous with rural properties.
You're dealing with things like septic systems,
You're dealing with wells.
drainage,
You're also dealing with heating systems, multiple types.
Things you can't always see during a showing.
We've heard stories, so this wasn't our clients, where buyers moved in and discovered, for example, a failed septic system.
At replacement costs of sometimes over $30,000.
That's life-changing money for most families.
This is why we've always believed
That a strong offer doesn't have to be a reckless offer. And here is story number 5, the Christmas pause, timing versus momentum.
Yeah, this next one is about timing.
We had a seller listed heading into the Christmas break.
Our advice was to stay on the market.
There's a common belief that nothing happens during the holidays,
But serious buyers are still serious buyers.
and there's often less competition.
And so our sellers felt strongly about taking the home off the market.
And of course, we respected their decision.
While they were off the market, homes in their neighborhood continued to sell.
And when they decided to relist,
The market had slowed.
momentum had shifted on them.
They weren't able to sell.
To their credit, they later acknowledged it was a mistake.
And that happens.
Waiting isn't always wrong.
But timing and momentum matter more than people realize. And this brings us to our final story, the common thread, pulling it all together.
Across all these stories, there's a common theme.
Outcomes are rarely about luck
They're about expectations
and preparation.
and having the right advice at the right time.
It's not about hype.
It's also not about pressure.
It's about clarity and just clarity.
If you're buying or selling and wondering which decision you're facing right now,
Or which of these stories feels familiar?
we're Matt and Michael. Again, we're from the Webb & Young Group, Remax Hallmark J Realty. And our job isn't to rush you.
It's to help you make decisions that still feel right 5 years from now.
Well, that's all we have for you today, everyone. Have a great one. And again, ensure that you subscribe, you like, and continue to follow us for all of our YouTube shows.
See you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.